of the world, now I'm living. And the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Hey, it's Ann Perry. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. Today I'm going to be talking about raising a child who has a master number 11 and knowing how to support them with their challenges. Now, many of you tuning in today are likely master number 11 adults, and maybe you're raising a master 11 child. It's not uncommon for master number 11 adults to have master 11 number children. So I thought it would be interesting for you from both perspectives. You might be interested in watching this because you'll maybe forgive your parents who didn't know what an 11 was, and so maybe they didn't give you the perfect upbringing that you would have preferred. And likewise, for those of you who are raising 11s, I think it's so important that you watch this because you need to understand that 11s are different. They're special and they have crazy challenges that those of the rest of us don't have. So I think that's really important that we're able to gain a little bit of knowledge so that we can make their journey a little bit easier. So we know that children are always happiest when they're following their life path. Do they know what their life path is? No. Have they studied numerology? Not likely. Do they know what a life path number 5 is or 7 is or 11 is? No, they probably don't. However, we intuitively know whether we're walking on the right path or we're not. That's ingrained in all of us. So understanding your child's unique life purpose of the master number 11 is going to allow you to see them in a different light. These kids already feel very isolated. They feel very different. They feel like they don't even belong here. So if you can spend some time getting a better understanding as to what their life path is about and what challenges that they face, they're going to feel better accepted. They're going to feel like they've been heard, and they're going to feel like they've been seen. And I think that that is going to help to raise much more confident master number 11s. So what is the characteristic, or what are the characteristics of an 11 child? Typically, 11s are shy. The kids, they prefer to hang out with adults rather than with children. They just don't kind of get children. Think of them as, very mature people in little tiny bodies. Problem with that is that they vibrate differently than everybody else. So they vibrate a very mature vibration. So parents tend to treat 11 children a little differently than they would another child, because they feel that the 11 child is just so much more mature. They've got it all together. You knew better than to let your brother do this. You knew better than that. Come on now, you're the big boy here. That kind of stuff is often heard by children who are 11. So we need to know as parents that we've got to remember these are kids. They're kids. And it's difficult enough for them because they already feel more mature. They already feel older than what their years are. They already feel like they should be accomplishing more than what they are. But the reality of it is they're only little people, right? So we need to cut them a little bit of slack and understand that by treating them more equally with their siblings. They're very sensitive in all ways, in all ways of being sensitive. They're sensitive to food. They're sensitive to light, to hearing, like sound, loud music. They're sensitive to energies. If they walk into a room and there's been an argument, they know it. They know it before you've even told them that that's going on. They feel things. They're very empathic. So they need to be given some special consideration. For example, if you're going to send your child off to university, understand that it's probably going to be very difficult for them to room with somebody else. They want to know that their friends are across the hall. They want to know that there's people around them, but they may not be totally comfortable having somebody unknown to them living in close proximity with them. They're very intuitive. They're very psychic. Unfortunately, many times as a child, as they're expressing their psychic abilities, which are totally normal to them, by the way. They don't think it's different or weird or abnormal. It's just is who they are. They see what they see. They hear what they hear. But when they start communicating it, quite often they get shut down because the others around them, parents in particular, or siblings or close family members, are afraid of it. And so they'll do whatever they can to shut that down. Oh, don't be talking to your invisible friends. Don't be talking to those spirits and their ghosts. And that's that's not real. It's real to them, right? And it is real. There is a veil that exists, between us and the other side, into the other realms. And for the children who are 11s, that veil is very, very thin. It gets a little thicker as they get older because they get further and further away from it. They get disconnected from it because it's not acceptable. And remember, they're trying to fit in because 11s just don't even feel like they're from here. Okay, so they're trying to fit in any way they can. So as soon as they hear that it's not right for them to be talking to those spirits or their invisible friends or whatever, they shut it down. And it's really a shame because it is the gift that they came in with. right? They're highly creative with a love of the arts. So they can be super successful in any artistic endeavor that they pursue. So making sure that they get exposed to the arts would be really, really good for them. They don't like large crowds. They're much better one-on-one. So when you think about the number 11, it's 2 1s. Well, it's double independence, right? It's double independence. The 2 1s are the masculine numbers, right? So that brings in more confidence, and yet they're acting on the 2 energy, which is the female energy, which is a little shyer, a little bit more reserved, a little bit more withdrawn. So they're always kind of struggling with that. I know I'm supposed to be confident. I know I'm supposed to be out there, but I just feel a little bit more comfortable in smaller groups. I haven't seen an 11 yet that would say differently, right? You guys really like to have sort of quieter, more intimate relationships. They have a need to have someone around. So as the picture shows up here in the top right-hand corner, they kind of cling to the legs of their moms and dads. Sometimes it's difficult to find a caregiver or a babysitter for the master number 11 child because they really don't like to be left. They're okay to be in the house by the, somewhere in the house, in the room or whatever, but they want to know you're in close proximity. They want to have access to you all the time. The 11 child might be the one that's phoning you 16 times a day when you're at the office trying to get something done, right? They just like to be connected all the time. So 11s tend to be a little bit more difficult to wean as infants. They're more difficult to leave at school because sometimes they just don't want to go behind that closed door. So they can be a little bit insecure, a little bit clingy. So why is it so very important to understand your child's life path number 11? Well, the life path number, or life purpose number as it's sometimes called, tells us what our kids are most academically well suited for. It also tells us what lessons they agreed to learn. Now remember that the 11s, unlike the rest of us, signed a contract to say, I'm going to do something amazing in this lifetime. I'm going to be a spiritual messenger. I'm going to leave a footprint. I'm going to leave, something on the earth that says I was here. So they know it. They know it coming in. The problem is, we choose our parents, and prior to the incarnation, they choose which mother's womb they're going to go into. So they go into the womb, and they know. 11s know why they're here. They know why they're coming. They know the lessons they've intended to learn. They know how they're going to execute it. They know it all, right? But as soon as they come through that birth canal, as soon as that umbilical cord is cut, all of a sudden it's like, what am I here for again? It's like complete eraser of the brain, right? They have no memory as to why they're here. So they struggle quite a bit trying to figure out, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And time's running out. And, they have all these fears and phobias associated with that. So we have to understand that they signed a contract that said they were going to do something amazing, and that kind of haunts them through their whole life. We can guide our children into the areas where they're most likely going to be more successful rather than suffering disappointment by simply putting them in the line of academics and whatnot that they are going to be more predisposed to. So for example, we know that the 11 is all about double creativity and double confidence. So maybe putting them into some kind of a craft course would be really good. Drawing would be great for them. Anything to do with pottery or painting or anything, related to the arts. Also, music is great for them. They have a real sensitive ear towards music. Singing, anything to do with the theater is also really good as well. So if you know that your child has a life path number of 11, you can knowingly provide opportunities for them to explore their creative side. We already know that they're going to be successful. They might not be successful at every single thing that you put them into, in terms of extracurricular type activities, but eventually they're going to find something. And it's all about developing their confidence in something that they already know that they can be good at, that they feel that they can be good at. Just allow them to explore that. So if you know your child has a life path number of 11, you can adjust their activities to accommodate this type of energy. So say, for example, in the morning, your child has been asked to go to a birthday party. So you send them off to this birthday party, and there's 15 or 20 screaming kids at the theater, and, and they're all pumped up full of, chocolate and chips and pop and all that stuff when they come home. So they're pretty supercharged. That would probably not be a really good night to go out and do something else, right? That would have been plenty enough. The constitution and the energy field of an 11 is so sensitive that they pick up on everything, and they get really overwhelmed in large groups very quickly. So understanding that Disney World at a very young age for a child who's an 11 is probably going to be a horror show. It's just not going to be a good experience for them. They'd have to have it in very small doses to be able to take it all in, or they just short out. The life path number can tell us so much about our child's learning style, their goal setting styles, and how they generally interact with other people. So we know that when we look at the number 11, the 11 is actually, a 2, right? So it's one of 2 people. So we know that they interact really well one-on-one. So same with their learning environment. So for example, if you put a child in a classroom that is a really big classroom, and maybe it has a lot of special needs children that need a lot of attention. Maybe they have other kids there that are all different learning levels, that sort of thing. So the teacher's not really able to spend a whole lot of one-on-one time with your child. Might not be the best learning environment. Trying to get them into classes that are smaller is going to be a lot more conducive to them. If they're struggling in a subject, they're not going to do well in the group atmosphere to try and figure it out, right? They're going to be much better one-on-one. So if you can arrange a tutor or some kind of after-school help, remedial help, that sort of thing is going to be very, very good for them. Adjusting their environment can significantly improve their behavior and their level of happiness. So what do I mean by that? Their environment can include their bedroom. What color did you paint the bedroom? Allow them to choose that. Don't just paint a color for them, because they're so sensitive to color and how it makes them react. So it would be a good idea for you to allow them the opportunity to choose the color. The type of sheets they sleep on, are they cotton kind of kids? Are they polyester kind of kids? Are they cotton blend kind of kids? Do they need flannel blankets? They're probably the kind of kids that are going to want that teddy bear for a longer period of time than most kids, or that sookie blanket that my kids all had. So adjusting the environment can be really helpful, understanding that they need to be able to control it in all areas, right? In all areas, the temperature of the room. If the situation is such that they have to room with another sibling, then there needs to be respect for the fact that the 11 child is not going to do well with the TV on all the time, for example, or with the radio going on all the time, or really loud music. They're sensitive to smell, so scent is not going to be a good thing to have around them unless they can choose it, right? So it's not that they're control freaks, but we just need to recognize that they run a little higher in terms of their vibration. So we need to give them the opportunity to be able to embrace what makes them feel good, if that makes sense. So what are Master 11 kids best suited for? They're really good as healers and counselors and teachers because they're very good working one-on-one with people. They make great therapists. They're very much peacekeepers. They don't do well with any kind of confrontation or negativity. So they're always the ones running around the house going, oh, no, you just go over here and you just play nice and you just kiss and make up. And, they're just that way. They have a very soft energy and they feel better when everybody else feels better. Any kind of pastoral care or a minister would be great. Support staff. They're excellent leaders. This double 1 is double leadership potential as well, especially when it comes to working with groups. They like to know that they don't want the limelight per se. They just want to be able to stay in the background and assist the group in any way they can. They're really good organizers, and they like to kind of keep everybody on track so that there's a success of the whole team. So they like to be a part of that. They just don't want the limelight for it. They make great massage therapists because they're so sensitive and they can tune into other people's energies. Artists, musicians, absolutely. Hairdressers, estheticians, intuitive coaches. Awesome. Psychic counselors, inventors, double creativity. Personal care workers, very sensitive to people's needs and they enjoy taking care of people. The nurse is a great occupation for them. Social worker, geriatric support. They're very intuitive and very sensitive to what elderly people need when they can't express it themselves. And anything to do with working with special needs children is an excellent fit for them as well. So how do we help them thrive? How do we help them get there? We need to consider enrolling them in activities that support their sensitive nature. So if you're going to put them in a brownies pack or you're going to put them in a scouts troop, that sort of thing, check it out and just see what kind of style is the leader. If they're super aggressive and right out there, it might not be a really good fit. So, just understand it's not, they just do better in a quieter environment. So, if you have the option to check out a few different leaders, do that. Avoid forcing them to have more friends over than what they're comfortable with. 11s don't do well with having a whole bunch of friends over at one time. They just can't manage the chaos, right? Especially as they're kids, they just can't manage it. They would much prefer to have one special friend over and spend the afternoon, playing Nintendo or playing with their Barbies or whatever they want to do. But it's all about the play dates need to be a little quieter. They need to be a little bit less social, I guess, is a way to describe it. We need to respect their sensitive stomachs by offering them high vibration diets. So live enzyme foods, fruits, vegetables, salads, carrot sticks, anything you can give them in the way of snacks and that kind of stuff that doesn't have a whole lot of processed stuff in it is much better for them. Their stomachs are so sensitive, they really do require a lot of live enzyme food. Allow them to have a lot of say in how their room looks and feels. We kind of covered that earlier. Making sure that they like where the room is. They like the feeling of the room. I'm not asking you to turn your kids into princesses and princes by any stretch of the mean. I'm not suggesting that at all. But given the room that you have to provide your child with, and we're not going to build extensions on our houses to keep these kids happy. I get that. But I think it's really important that given whatever space you have for them, that you allow them to have some say as to how it looks and how it feels. Respect the reality that they often do see spirits, they often see ghosts, and they feel things, they have premonitions about things, they get anxious about certain things, and quite often what they get anxious about actually does manifest and happen. So help them to talk about it rather than shutting them down. Help them to set realistic and attainable goals. These guys set the bar sky friggin' high because of their previous life experiences. They know that they've done it in a previous lifetime, so they tend to set it, unrealistic goals. Okay, so help them to set goals that are going to be a little bit more attainable. Recognize that the best learning environment for them is a quiet, stress-free one. Recognize that they don't feel like they even belong here. So they're already having a hard enough time fitting in. So whatever you can do to help their experience with that is definitely going to be a benefit for them. And here's the key. Help them to understand that they are more than good enough. They compare themselves to so many people. They've set these expectations that are ridiculously high for themselves, and they're too young to understand that it's really their own expectations for themselves that they're afraid they're not going to meet. And yet parents tend to treat them a little differently because of that old energy, because of that old soul energy that comes forward. So just understanding that we need to recognize that they are little people, and we need to treat them as if they were, a 7-year-old or a 5-year-old or whatever they in fact are. Even though they're more mature than the average 7-year-old or 5-year-old, we still need to respect the fact that they're kids. And they're going to be already hard enough on themselves. I always say that, 11s can raise themselves and change their own diapers. They just come out that way. So we just need to help them understand that they're more than good enough. And again, by helping them to set attainable goals will help them to set realistic goals that they can reach, and therefore they will feel more than good enough. And last but not least, help them to understand that mastering the master number 11 life path number means just living in the moment, making sure they understand that they can make a difference today, that they are valuable today, that they are good enough today. Do whatever you can. Put the stickers on the fridge, do whatever you have to do to encourage them is really important, because they really tend to project too far into the future and they miss living in the moment, right? And the moment is really all we have, right? So helping them to stay grounded, helping them to stay centered, keeping them away from the junk food and whatnot that can overstimulate their systems, that sort of thing is really, really important. So that's it. That is how to handle a child and raise a child who has a master number 11. I hope that you found it really interesting. I do hope that you'll check out my website. It's AnnPerryNumerologist.com. I do have a blog there. I also post all my videos all in one place there. And I have a newsletter as well. I've got some courses coming up for the 11s. And I think if you want to hear about them, you might want to just hop over to AnnPerryNumerologist.com and sign up for the newsletter so you'll know when they're on. I also have a very active Facebook page. I do post there every single day. So if you want to learn something new about numerology, that's where you want to go. And last but not least, I really hope that you'll like and share and sign up for my channel, subscribe to my channel, because I love creating community. I just really love to hear from you guys. This video was actually brought on by one of my subscribers who said, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about raising a child with a master number 11. So I thank you for that. And I really look forward to your suggestions as to what else I can create for you. Make it your best day ever. Thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.